question I've been asking other groups is how much weight do you think we're actually lifting at this point here with this person's trap? Any idea?
15.
15? Yeah, not bad. Probably no more than 10 tonne. Basically what you're looking at doing is, we're lifting at this point only, you break it up into 4 sections, so 70 divided by 4, and then you halve it again because we're only lifting this side of the train. So maximum, probably more like 7 or 8 tonne we're lifting. This bottle jack we're using here, with an air over hydraulic pump, that's got a capacity of 50 tonne, so we're going to be able to do the job pretty easy, aren't we? Right, the good thing about this one is it's got a 100mm lift. How much height do you think we're going to need to get here as well, to get this patient out? Not much. Normally their arms are going to be pretty flat, aren't they? Or their limb, whatever limb is actually trapped. It's going to be quite a small movement. We look at about 30 to 50 mil. 50 mil is normally maximum. Millimetres, alright? Not much at all. An inch to an inch and a half, you should be able to get them out. We've also got some cribbing over here underneath the section of the bogey there, in the middle of the bogey, making sure that as we lift with the bottle jack, we're making sure we chase it with the cribbing over here to make sure we've got that stabilisation in place. If the bottle jack was to go or something was to go wrong here, we've got that in place ready to go to take the weight. Alright? Another important factor with when we're lifting the bottle jack here, probably notice these blocks of timber in here. That's the axle of the wheel, right there. There's a spring above the axle. Basically, there is movement there. If we weren't to block out this section in here, we're going to get an initial taking up of that space as we lift with the bottle jack. So what we've got to do is block that space out with cribbing, and basically when we get an initial, well, straight away we're getting lift. It's not going to take up that 60 to 100 mil first. Right, we haven't got much height with the actual bottle jack to lift that as well.
And it doesn't need to be central, it's perfectly okay.
Yeah, that's fine where it is because that's all one section. Yep. So it's pretty solid. We did ask the engineers about that and they said no, that's fine. That's okay. What we're going to do is break up into 2 groups. We've got this side which is the lifting side. On the other side of the locomotive is the anchor, which is a very important part of this exercise. If you don't anchor on the other side, there is a chance we can cause the locomotive to move into the 3 foot, which is the section between the rails. And you'll understand that more when it's explained to you on the other side.
We've got a 70-tonne loco, but all we're trying to do in this instance is hold the wheel back to the rail, because obviously as we lift on the other side, it's going to have a tendency to pull it away from the rail. Because we're only doing about a 30 to 50 mil lift, it's highly unlikely that it's going to fall off and go into the 3 foot, which is this area here. But we still have to stabilise because we have got a casualty in there that we're dealing with. So we tried earlier on to use our ground anchor system, which is that system there with the pickets, which is normally a very effective anchor when used in turf and most other areas, but because this ballast is really loose here, as soon as we put a bit of tension on it, it pulls straight out of the ground. So we gave that idea away. We've got the 2.5 tonne turf set up here, and all you're doing, you're not doing a full pull, all you're doing is taking the tension to hold it back to the rail, so that's quite effective. Another thing that we use is a come along, you know, the chain and block, and that's very effective too. So when you do set up, you can come off an existing rail if you've got parallel lines as we have here. And if you do it this way, it's best to, rather than just go to a section of rail, it's best to go where there's a sleeper and you've got the pin down in it and come either side, so you've got a more solid anchor point. If you, sorry?
It'll be nice and perpendicular.
Yeah, and we've got that lined up perfect with the other side. Another thing you could do, if there was a solid anchor point already about, use that, or you may have to bring a vehicle side on. Bottle jack to do the lift. We've placed our shims in here to take any movement out of there. Just a reminder of that grease nipple in there, so when you do set that up yourselves that you avoid that. We've got our secondary cribbing in place. We've got our lifting pump over here, which is air over hydraulic. Okay?
You sign off in cricket.
It's very
grease nipple's right in the centre. So either side you should be right.
Do that.
That way you're going to be sure that you're not going to get any movement there.
Righto, so we're all ready this side, guys?
No worries.
Jace, you ready?
This one is ready to go.
Andy, CT, you ready?
Yeah.
Tim, you ready? Yeah, the other side's ready. So we're going to start a lift. Ben's just taking up, keep coming up. Keep coming up.
Yeah, right.
That's starting to take up there, Tim.
Yeah, that's taken up.
So it's just taking up Andrew. How we go with the patient there, Jace?
Yeah, pretty good.
What about 10 mil travel there, Josh? That's good, Andrew. Just keep it nice and gentle. How we going? Blocks there, guys? Good? Good.
Yeah, good, Josh.
Keep coming up, Andrew.
Just be careful with your fingers there.
Just keep coming up, nice and gently.
Just watch your
Just
wedges.
hold it there for a sec. How we looking there, Jace?
Still trapped in there.
Alright, we're 3 blocks. Yep. Right, Andrew, just take it up a little bit further, please. Just nice and gently.
You just constantly keep on your wedges under the wheel, otherwise you will get a tendency for them to fall off.
How we looking, Jace?
Still trapped. No, come out there.
Alright, hold it there, please.
Yeah,
That'll move.
Yeah, we've
Nice, Andrew, you ready? Everyone clear?